The Avs are alive. And, if the Avalanche come back and win this series, Dallas is going to look back on this one the same way that Calgary looked back on their failure to go up 3-1 on Dallas. If Calgary had gone up 3-1 on Dallas, Calgary's probably here. They're not. And for Dallas, they were pretty close to being up 3-0. And this feels like one of those moments that could be a turning point in the series where when you're needing a big defensive play and a big save, they didn't get it. And so for Dallas, this just puts that little bit of doubt in their minds. And this is, with the hockey inside the bubble, this is how things work now, that there's this dramatic shift one way or the other. And fans don't have an influence over it. But boy, do the players ever have something to do with it. So evenly played early. Shot blocking by the Stars was prominent. So was the hitting. We'll get into the hits. There was a ridiculous number of hits in this game. Now, when you see hits this high, your first suspicion is, okay, so somebody's calling everything hits. But this was a very, very hard-hitting game, and Colorado was drilling every Dallas Star that touched the puck tonight. Francouz denied Ben. Ben then's guilty of a trip. The Avs go to a power play. It was 4 for 9 in the series. It was not an influence tonight. In fact, neither power play was an influence. And you look at the score and you think, really? Yeah, really. Solid penalty kill, evenly played first half, and then Sagan would get a goal from Ben and Haskin at 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Great pass by Ben, great finish by Sagan, and here I am saying, wow, all right, so these guys have showed up to play. Dallas's scoring troubles are over. But I've mentioned before, when Dallas can score for some reason, then the defensive numbers fall apart. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe this is just a one-off. Dallas fans, we can hope this is a one-off, right? So Hintz was apparently guilty of a dive at the same time as Connaughton interfered. I've never liked this. I've never liked calling it both. And I know that there's a defense for calling it both, but to me it should be one or the other. Either the guy's guilty of a trip, a hook, or interference, or the other guy's guilty of a dive. It shouldn't really be both. If I fall down as a result of somebody running into me, it shouldn't be qualified as a dive because I was probably falling down anyways. So it's called a dive. That's fine. It's all right. It's 4-on-4. The Avs get a 2-on-1 rush. Hudobin stopped it. McKinnon looked fantastic every time he had the puck. He now has 20 points to lead the playoffs. 20 points. And we're not through the second round yet. So McKinnon may very well be threatening some pretty big names should Colorado come back and win this series and they move on to the next one. Hudobin then denied Nichushkin. Solid second half by the Avalanche. The Stars lacked a sense of urgency. First thing I noticed, as soon as they got that goal, Colorado's pushing back, and Dallas didn't have that killer instinct that we've seen that would show up later in the game, but it wasn't there then. Last minute pressure by the Avs and tons of hitting. Tons. Lots. Second period, Hudobin denied McKinnon early, but Zadorov gets a goal from Kadri at 1 minute. Just over the pad. That's the kind of goal that I think Hudobin would want back. That's the kind that Hudobin would look at and say, that I should have had. And it is the first goal by a defenseman in this series for the Colorado Avalanche. So again, some of these things that haven't been working out for Colorado started to work out tonight, and that tied it at 1. Connaughton then takes a penalty. The Stars went to the power play. Chances on the power play, but no goal for Dallas. And then that hurts them because Burakovsky goes the other way. Burakovsky gets a goal from Makar and Zadorov at 4:41. Zadorov with a goal and an assist. And this is where, again, things are starting to change. They haven't been getting goals from anybody outside their top three, to the point where there was speculation about whether or not Colorado might break up that first line. They didn't. And this tells me Jared Bednar has full confidence in his roster to get it together. And sometimes that's important too. So Colorado with the lead. Fadoon was then stopped by Francouz. 2-on-1 for the Avs. Rantanen misfired. 70 hits in total in the first half of the game. 41 of those by Colorado. 41 hits in 40 minutes. Every time a Star touches the puck, they're going to get hit. And, it's that kind of wearing down the Stars that over a long series could absolutely make a difference. Zadorov exited the game after taking a hit from Ben. Pretty sure he came back in. The Stars were getting looks. Not great shots, though. So I thought the Stars were getting their opportunities. And you look at the shots, and they were close to even, but they weren't great chances. Then Landeskog scores from Makar and McKinnon at 11 minutes. and this is where things start to really fall off the rails. So it's 3-1. Then Graves gets a good shot, stopped by Hudobin. Fedun takes a penalty. The Avs go to the power play, but that doesn't score. So again, the power plays are not an effect on the result tonight. Francouz denied Gurianov on a rush late. Janmark then takes a high stick, another Avs power play, and during that, it became a 5-on-3.5 because of the broken stick. However, that broken stick of Dallas's was right in front of McKinnon, so he had a hard time making passes, and you can tell he's getting frustrated with these two pieces of a stick in front of him. So it's kind of a 5-on-3.5, but kind of not. But after 2 periods, it's 3-1 for Colorado. At this point, I put on the Avs jersey. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be doing the Avs for the review because the Avs are going to win this. And, I didn't think that you could see the Avs fall apart in the third period. I watched them against Arizona. I watched them through the round robin and during this season, and I thought, well, they're going to keep a 2-goal lead in the third. And this wasn't me discounting Dallas. It was me complimenting Colorado. Little did I know what was to come. Nemesnikov takes a penalty. Stars started out on a power play. That Nemesnikov penalty was a roughing at 20 minutes. These teams have got really scrummy during this game. A lot of hits will do that. Frantic action. Francouz kept it out. Landeskog takes a penalty. Stars go right back to the power play. On that power play, I felt Dallas was overpassing the puck. I thought there were some really good chances and I think it was Radulov had the best chance and he decided to pass, and that pass got blocked. If he had taken that shot, I think it would have gone in. However, Gurianov scores from Hintz and Perry at 4 minutes and 42, and after that, Dallas seemed to get into their game, and Dallas was playing very well. Now, I don't know how much of this as well was Colorado saying, we better be careful, and maybe playing a little bit scared. Como scores at 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Jared Bednar says, I've seen enough, and calls a timeout. So it's a tie game, and I thought the last 10 minutes would possibly decide the Avs season. Because again, if Dallas wins this, season's basically over. They're down 3-0. Heiskanen had a chance that nearly fooled Francouz, but not long after, Ben scores from Lindell at 10:47. And all I wrote underneath that was, what? Because again, here's Dallas with one of these amazing comebacks. So it felt like the Calgary comeback. And I was like, all right, so they're up. And we'll see what happens from here. And what happened from here was Rantanen scores from McKinnon at 12 minutes and 2 seconds. This is right around where I looked at the board and I said, great. Basically filled that board. We'll get another board out. So we get another board out. Play starts. Nazem Kadri tips the puck in front of the net. Connaughton and Makar with the assists at 13:54. Nice to see Connaughton on the board for something other than a penalty. Makar with, I believe, his third assist of the night. So Cale Makar had a very good night. Probably the best game he's played. I'm going to say maybe even including the Arizona series. And I thought, all right, so last shot wins then. The Avs clearly knew that a loss was going to mean the season. So once they were behind, they went no. And it was like a collective no from them. And they fought back. And this is one of those things where at the end of the series, we may look back on this game and say this is where things turned. Fedun had a point shot that was stopped. Stars pressed with 4 minutes left. They pulled a goalie with 2 minutes left. But Belmar gets his first ever playoff goal from Rantanen at 18:26 into the empty net. Dallas pulled the goalie again with a minute left, but doesn't matter. So the Avs are still alive. They're down 2-1. Again, if you're Dallas, you're going to look at this game and say, well, we had them down. We were ahead. And then we took our foot off their necks and they beat us. And this is one of those things that, again, to me, it feels like what we saw between Calgary and Dallas in that Game 4, where we came out with a tie series. We come out of this one, Game 3, and now the series is 2-1 in favor of the Dallas Stars. So the Stars still have the lead in the series, but they have to win on Friday. If Colorado wins on Friday, that throws this whole thing out of whack. And again, for the third straight game, the team that's designated the road team wins the game. So sort of like the road team won the first game today as well, or the first evening game today as well between Tampa and Boston. So again, the home road thing. I was even looking for stats last night. Couldn't really find a whole lot because most of the sites seem to be just treating it like, all right, we'll just show their overall records through the play-ins and playoffs. Shots favored Colorado in the first and the second, 12-9, and then 13-11. In the third, Dallas played very well, but every time that a shot went at their net, it seemed to go in their net. They outshot Colorado 16-7. Final shots 37-32. Way too many rush chances for Colorado. Way too many shots right in front of the net. Some really iffy defense, and Hudobin, who's been great, had a 5-game winning streak coming into tonight. This was not a great game by Hudobin either. Hits were 70-55 in favor of Colorado. 70 hits in 60 minutes. That's not too shabby. Power plays, Colorado and Dallas both went 0 for 3 on the power plays. They were way too busy throwing hits to bother with power play goals. Francouz, 33 saves on 37 shots. I thought he had an iffy game, but he emerges with the win. And Hudobin, 26 saves on 31 shots. He also had an iffy game. So we'll see if they can both tighten things up going into Game 4, because we know Grubauer isn't expected to be back in for the playoffs, so it is Francouz or bust if you're Colorado. And it definitely feels like we won't be seeing Bishop back, but if Bishop's close, we may see him on Friday after Hudobin kind of sort of got lit up there tonight. And again, this is a series that I don't think is over. I think there were those who may have been writing off Colorado a little bit after Game 2, but tonight they showed they have a lot of fight. Landeskog was saying all the right things after Game 2 and came through, put his money where his mouth was tonight. This is going to be quite the series, and that means we didn't have any sweeps in the first round, and we're not going to have any sweeps in the second round either. So we may not have a Game 7, but we're also not seeing sweeps. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon. So now that they're gone, for longtime subscribers, I will say this. At least with Boston and Dallas both having setbacks tonight, I like Colorado and Tampa. I don't hate those teams. This isn't one of those situations like, those dastardly Avs and those dastardly Bolts. It honestly doesn't really upset me very much. And knowing that I'm going to do reviews after the game means I watch the whole thing all the way through, rather than in past years I might have stopped watching. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you again in the morning.